Welcome to another exciting edition of Business Digest with OHENE-ASIEDU. Today our focus is on the DVLA. The question is, how does the DVLA issue license to new drivers? And do you know that the DVLA has introduced new license for all drivers in the country? It is called the Smart Card. Let's get talking with the Director of Driver Training, Testing and Licensing. His name is Mr. Cheyuo Musa. When we talk about DVLA, what are the objectives of the DVLA?
Thank you very much. First, the DVLA was established in the year 1999 by an Act of Parliament, Act 569. The objective or the mandate is to ensure good driving standards and the use of roadworthy vehicles on the road and other public places.
How does the DVLA issue license to drivers?
The DVLA, first, there is a process, and there are first requirement for any person applying for a license is that you must be 18 years of age, maturity. At 18, you can be sent to court. You are no more a juvenile. You will answer for your deeds. So that is how come it's 18 years of age. In other jurisdictions, it's less. But what they do is that they give you a probationary license, and that probationary license will now be used by you until you mature at 18, when you can answer for your own deeds. So that is the first requirement. Now there are other lighter requirements, so as to say your medical condition, your physical condition. If you meet those things, those are normally just to find out. Know that the law does not discriminate against people. The law recognizes every person to have a full potential, and that whatever job you intend to do will be facilitated by transport. That transport means probably should be adapted to your health needs so that you can interact safely. So that is the position of the law. So we will look at you physically and see whether you have disabilities that we think probably you need to be advised on, or you have disabilities that we think the vehicle should be made to take care of your disabilities. Once that is done, then we go into the process of taking you through the steps to acquiring a driver's license. The first step then will be you will fill some forms and you will register your interest. That is the form. They are legal documents that shows you had come, you had expressed your interest for a license. Those forms will be scrutinized, and your details are picked and stored in the register. You shall be given a learner permit, and once you are given a learner permit, you now have the right to use the road to learn. There are two rights: one a permit and one a license. The permit gives you that right to use the road. The law, if we look at section 25D, 26.5D, if I quote it right, it's talking about first-time entrants who want to acquire a license. It says that if that is the first time you are coming to acquire a driver's license, you should have a basic driver training, and that is the training aspect of the license. Driving schools have been established by the DVLA. Regulated, kind of, not established, but we regulate the activities of driving schools. And the law mandates that every person desiring to acquire a driver's license must undergo a compulsory 48-hour driver training. And that was the regulation I was just trying to quote you. So after the driver training, the driving school shall present you, or you present yourself, for the first exam, which is a theory test. Now the theory test has got 30 questions. You should get 21 questions correct. That amounts to 70%. Now if you pass that one, then you move to the next stage. If you do not pass, you cannot move to the next stage. So they are linked. The first stage is the theory test. If you pass that one, you move to the next stage, and that is we call it the road science and road markings. So it's like oral tests. So that is the oral test. The examiner will interact with you and get to understand how you know the road markings and signs and your understanding of them. The reason is that it's quite risky. If I take you onto the road and I have never met you, I don't know you very well, I have to know your appreciation of the road signs and markings, because that is what will guide you moving on the road. So once you demonstrate knowledge of the road signs and markings, and indeed, if we look at the law again, it says that an examiner shall ensure that the person he's testing demonstrate enough knowledge of the road signs and markings and the use of the road. So once you demonstrate that, then he will now take you to the field to do a practical test. And there are core areas as well that guides the examiner in those examinations. There are some things that will mean an automatic fail. For example, if you run into somebody's vehicle, an accident during the test, it's an automatic. If for example, you come in and you are drunk, you drink alcohol, it's an automatic fail. So there are areas that will mean automatic fail. If you are not able to control the steer, and then you are not able to change the gears, that is an automatic fail. Because you cannot move a vehicle without having full control of the steer and ability to change the gears. That is an automatic fail. Now, there are other mistakes we all commit that might not mean automatic fail. So the testing officer is guided by these guidelines. And there are 25 areas. Out of the 25 areas, marks are given. And we expect a 70% pass in the practical test. Then, when you have passed your practical test, that is when we then capture you. That is the licensing bit, placing you in the category for which you have the skills to work or to drive. So you will now be placed in, but the law did say the first attempt is normally a B class. So we will be placing you in the B class. We will be giving you a document which we are about launching, a new document which we are about launching now. That is the new driver's license, which is the smart card driver's license. So we then give you that document, and we expect you to go and then polish yourself on the road and use the road. So we shall be adding you a P plate. P means probational. That means you are under probation for a period of 1 year to be able to polish up yourself and make good the right that have been given to you. So that is the process for acquiring a driver's license. After you've applied that, then just like you have gone to school, you have upgraded. Upgrade from the B class to the higher categories of driver licensing, which is the C, which is for now the C class is up to 5 tons. We intend to increase that to 10 tons with the launch of the new license, and then from C, minimum 2 years, you can go to D. And D for now is 8 tons. We intend to increase that to 35 tons. And from D, you move to F, another 2 years. And the F for now is all vehicles above 8 tons. We intend to move that to all vehicles above 35 tons. So new changes are coming as we roll out the program, and it does require some explanation and not.
You go to a driving school, and then when it's time for the instructor to take you on a test drive, that is where the instructor will tell whether you need to be passed for the license or not. Do you know that some drivers do not take the learners on that test drive? They would rather say, oh, just bring something small and then I'll just write that you've passed the test. Do you know that something like that is happening in the country?
Well, I might not have the knowledge. If I have the knowledge as a director, I have to take an action.
But it happens
yes.
a lot.
So if that happens, I think the problem with this country, I have lived in other countries, that people are honest to themselves and then to the society. If you see somebody stealing and you refuse to alert and the person has stolen, then the society has lost, we have all lost. I will employ people to give us information. That is why, for example, for now, we have all online, we are online, we have direct lines for people to call on us, we have Facebook, we have other technologies, probably Instagram and so forth. Give us some information to be able to reform. Probably what we need to do is to reform some area that will take care of those things. That is why for now we want to make sure that many of the things is not going to be give me ABCD and I'll do this for you, because he can input. So we are using technology and we want to link all the standalone technologies so that we eliminate the human interface. as more as you eliminate the human interface. For example, if he doesn't test you, there is no way we are going to have cameras in the future. It's going to come.
So but at this moment we do not have the cameras.
Exactly.
So as I speak to you now, there's someone who has just given an instructor 50 CDs and the instructor has just written passed.
Okay.
Go for your license.
So that is it. So
yes.
I am not there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to see.
Yeah.
So it is difficult for me to take an action until I know who has done that. If we can use technology to improve on the systems and bring transparency, that is good. Now you have told me we can probably employ spies, to see what comes out. We have done that in some areas of our processes. We have caught people and we have sacked people in the past. Having heard that, we'll take actions. We'll find out if we can even localize it more. That is good for me, so that I don't waste resources going to places where it probably is not happening, and we'll be wasting government money. So if we continue to get information as to where and who is likely to do those things, it will be good for us.
I would advise that you have some of these spies you're talking about at most of your centers, the final centers where you do the test drive before you are asked to go for your license, because that is where it happens.
Yeah, so that's what. But if you can localize it for us, it's going to help us to probably save some resources to be able to improve on other areas. But if it is a well-good chase, you will find out that all these people you are going to have, we have over 28 centers and we are still counting. So imagine you are going to employ more than 28 more. There are conditions of service and all those things are good. If even it is that you are employing them on one-time basis, even it is higher for you to pay. So if we can get information, direct information, localized information, it's going to help us more. We respect what you just told us. We're going to take it on our principles, and then we make sure that we stop some of those things. I am personally against those things. You never can tell the one you take the money from and give him a driver's license, he is going to kill you or kill your son. We have told this to our officers, and yes, you still have some few bad nuts. You find somebody very honest during the interview, and at the end of the interview, he changes into something else. That is the behavior of people. Human behavior, it is something that we all need to deal with.
How often does the DVLA interact with your test instructors? Is that how you call them?
Yes, our testing officers.
Testing officers. How often do you have interactions with them to find out what exactly happens on the ground?
No, you see, if you interact with a testing officer, the one who is stealing will never tell you that he's stealing. So after the interaction, we have seminars, quarterly seminars. We also have officers visiting stations to see, look at the books. But you see, the thing about human nature is that the bad people, when you get to them, they will show you their good side.
How do you employ your test instructors?
There are qualification requirements. When they meet the minimum qualification, they are employed, and we take them through in-service training. We take them through in-service training, let them understand the rules of the road as we want them to understand it. Let them understand the interpretations of the law as we want them to understand. That is the LI 2180. Let them understand the Act, that is 683, and how we want that to flow. And let them understand the culture of the organization as we want it. Definitely there are bad nuts everywhere. We want to make sure that once we have given you all these things, and we have given you documentation where you can read from for the performance of your duty, we expect that you will then begin to learn and improve on your time. And periodically, we also have training. Recently, we just had a training organized for testing officers by Sweet Road. That is one of the best countries in terms of road safety records. They came to train our technical officers. We have other collaborations with other international organizations that come to give us talks.
There are a few things I have observed with regards to testing officers. Yeah. How do I tell whether this is a test? Because you go to some of the DVLA offices, you're done with the exam, you have to go out to do the testing, and then they tell you, okay, that's him, or that's him, he will take you, no tag, nothing to show. How do I tell? Do you have tags for your testing officers?
Yes, recently we just produced tags for all testing officers.
Recently, so that means before you didn't have that?
Before then, people had, but they were faded, they were lost. This is something that has to be done. I think the personnel division has seen that. Just like you rightly say, people must be identified. So the new CEO has taken upon himself to ensure that every officer, not just testing officer, but any person that works with DVLA has a tag, and that tag must be worn when he's performing his duty. So each and every officer has been given a tag, and all managers are to ensure that their staff wear the tag.
Since when did you send the tags out to the testing officers?
Oh, yeah, I think probably I'm not very good with all the dates, but I have mine hanging in my office. When you came to my office, you saw a tag hanging there. So probably, but that was the beginning of this year.
How many testing officers do you have at every center?
It depends upon the workload, but the minimum is 2 testing officers for the district officers. The regional officers will have not less than 4. In busier stations, you have up to 20 testing officers. If you go to Accra, I think the numbers are around 15-20.
Is the DVLA aware of Goro boys working as testing officers? Are you aware of that?
I am not aware. It's something that probably it will strike me down if I get to know that a Goro boy is doing testing for DVLA. That will be the last straw. And I will want to see that. I want to know which station is that. Somebody will take, some punishments for probably allowing that.
But for now, you haven't had any.
I have never heard. This is the first time, indeed. You are the first person to mention to me that a Goro boy is testing somebody in place of a DVLA officer.
Tell me about the smart driving license.
Thank you very much. The smart driving license is an improvement on the ordinary driving license. It's a license, it's a PVC card, and it has a chip that you cannot see. Chip is embedded in the license. Now, the design of the license is very unique. It depicts the culture of this country. You can market Ghana using the DVLA license. Now, there are lots of security features in the new license. If you are conversant with the ID, that is identity cards, there are basic lines. You have first line, second line, third line security. We have employed all these lines of security to the highest. I will not be able to tell you those security lines, because that is internal. But I will assure you that the security is very high, very, very high. Now, the technology we are using to print this license is also one of the highest in the world, very high. The machines are very robust. We have acquired machines that can deliver far and above our daily requirements for now, and that can take us into the next 5 years. So we are well placed in a position to give Ghanaians what we say we can deliver. We are saying for now, when we start and we fully employ all the systems, we should be able to deliver your license between 2 to 4 weeks. Unlike the 3 months or so we used to give people. You'll be given a temporary license, but we assure you that your license will be given to you between 2 to 4 weeks, and that your license we shall deliver it to you by courier. If you come to apply for our premium services, within 48 hours you get your license. Within hours you get your driver's license. This is what we intend to get.
Listening to you, you're talking about having your license delivered to you on time. This new license, is it out to curb road accidents? Because road accident keeps increasing by the day. How can the new license curb road accidents?
Yeah, thank you very much. The new license can curb road accidents. Mm-hmm. One, the person driving the vehicle, you have to make sure that that person is a real driver or not. Now, if I have a document, that document on real time, I can find out whether he is actually competent to hold that license. He's the one that was tested and given that license.
All that is captured in the new license?
The software, exactly. Mm-hmm. You see, I told you that it has got a chip. It's smart. The new license is smart. That means that you can use you can check the person holding the license real time, whether that person is a qualified driver or he's not a qualified driver. So if I go to the road now, with a new driver's license, if you are holding it, I can swap that and find out whether your license is genuine or it's not genuine.
I guess if you are a driver, you have really learned something from Mr. Cheyuo Musa. Join me next week Thursday on Business Digest on www.kasapafmonline.com or Estich TV for more interesting stories in the world of business.